Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters, and welcome to my raw reaction review of The Pope's Exorcist.
My faith does not require defense.
Yes, so we have been blessed as another busy week here in the horror space with not one but two big theatrical releases. We already discussed Renfield. The review is up on the channel with me and Luke, and it was just me who went to venture out and see Russell Crowe's new flick, The Pope's Exorcist. I wasn't really excited for this movie. If you saw my short, I did express that we're not the biggest fans of the Exorcist genre. You know, that is a series of films, or I guess a genre of horror films or a subgenre that kind of has the Jaws effect, where it was done really, really well. With William Friedkin's The Exorcist, of course. And it's been tough to kind of really recapture that magic. And it's a genre that I'm not too familiar with because, again, it's not my favorite. It's one of those things where it's just kind of like I feel like they all are relatively similar, but you're talking to a guy who watches just about every other shark film that drops, even the crappy ones. So, it's just really not my bag. And so going into this movie, this film already had an uphill battle to go with me. It did have some points with this being directed by Julius Avery, who brought us Overlord. I did enjoy that movie quite a bit a few years back. I thought that was a good bit of fun. And, I'm not the, biggest Russell Crowe fan. I think he's this fantastic actor, just like anybody else. But, it's one of those things where it's like, he's not going to get my butt in the theater normally. So to say that I'm seeing this just for the benefit of the channel is probably the nicest way I can put it. But overall, how did I feel about The Pope's Exorcist? Well, it didn't really work for me. I kind of thought that this movie was very paint by numbers, a little boring when it's content wise. And, overall, I just thought, hey, I've seen this movie before. I've seen this movie a couple of times. I saw a version similar to this movie just a few months ago with Pray for the Devil. And, it's one of those things where I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. But that's not to say that there aren't some good spots. I thought that Russell Crowe is very charismatic. Obviously he's Russell Crowe, and I did enjoy a lot of the actors that were in the film alongside him. I thought that's I believe his name is Daniel Zovato. Was very good as kind of like the second to Russell Crowe's Father Gabriel. Alexis Eso was great. And I really enjoyed the little boy, if you've seen in the trailer, who gets possessed. His name, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's Peter de Souza Frega Honey. I don't know. Sorry, but you did great. And there's also their daughter in the movie, Laurel Marsden, who I thought they all did a fine job. I thought everybody really brought their A game. They really tried. They made something really stand out in a few scenes for me where it's like the tension was pretty good. But all in all, I think my biggest issue comes down to just the content of the film. I just think that it's pretty tired. It's not really breaking the mold. It's kind of just, we have a demon who's possessing somebody and we got to figure out how we're going to exorcise the person. I thought there were some really cool moments. I loved the opening to this. So I honestly thought there was a lot of hope that this was going to be something really special. Just with how this opening scene takes place. I thought it was creative and cool. I liked kind of how they were setting up Russell Crowe's character, and then everything kind of just started to get real paint by numbers as the film goes on. I did find myself sitting there, checking my phone. I don't like to admit it, but I did sit there and check the time a couple of times, just like, okay, let's keep things moving. I feel like this movie has a bit of a pacing issue. I think that there's a lot of sequences where this film drags. I think that there's a lot of points where they could be doing something more interesting, or they could have cut some of the fat to kind of keep the pace moving a bit. I think that, it's an hour and 43. I think if you would have made this thing a straight 90 minutes, I might have had a little less of that feeling. I think there's a good bit that you could rip out from this movie, stuff that is kind of just like, okay, why is this here? Kind of stuff. But overall, again, it's just not my bag. It's just not something that I'm going to sit here and say, this, I'm the target audience for this. I've kind of made up my mind with exorcism films a long time ago. And, it's tough for these kind of movies to get over that hump for me, but I gave it an honest shot. And I gotta say, it's just okay. Now, where does this lie for me? It's not, certainly not the worst film in the world. It's just a little boring. It's just a little predictable. And, I think that if this is something you're interested in, you should probably check it out when it comes out on like DVD or streaming. I think that that's probably the best place for it, because I don't know if you need to rush out to theaters and see that. I think there's a lot of other movies in theaters that you should be going to see right now. And I don't know if this is one of them. I feel like this is going to kind of be a little bit of a flash. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to see it, popping up on like Peacock or something. And, if you are a diehard Exorcist film fan and you like that stuff, just like I said, with me in the shark films, I'll watch anything where a shark's eating somebody, even if it's the most paint by numbers bullshit. If this is you, you'll probably enjoy it. Go have fun with it. But yeah, I got to be honest. I just thought that it was a little boring. I thought it had some pacing issues. The acting was solid. I thought that Julius Avery was a strong director. I think that he has some really good visual aspects to it. I think that there's some cool stuff, but at the end of the day, it just kind of divulges into things that I've seen 100 times over whenever we deal with an exorcism movie. But other than that, guys, that's going to wrap up my review for the Pope's Exorcist. I think it's definitely worth a rental, if you're interested in it. But if it is something where you're kind of just like, is this the horror movie that I want to go see? I'm going to say skip it. But overall, that's everything I have to say about it. So let me know down below what you thought of the Pope's Exorcist. Other than that, we got a lot of great stuff coming up on the channel, a lot of great reviews. We did get to check out Renfield, like I said at the opening of the review. So definitely check that review out. We had a lot of fun with that movie. And we got our Evil Dead films being reviewed right now. We just covered the original and the 2013 remake. And Evil Dead Rise is only a week away. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we would really like to get there before our year mark in May. Other than that, guys, it's going to wrap it up here. So until next time, I'm Dylan Newell. And remember, stay scared.